What's up, everybody? This is BS for Build. I'm Chris, and the time has come. Fourth paint job's a charm. That's the saying, right? That's what everybody says. If you don't get it the first time, try 3 more times. It's time to paint this car. I'm very excited. We are setting up basically the booth inside the ghetto booth, the DIY booth inside the shop right now. So we're getting plastic on the ground. We're going to build some plastic walls. But first, I wanted to do the caulking on the spoiler. So some viewer brought up a really good comment. Why didn't you paint before you put on the spoiler? And that is an option, and that is what a lot of people would probably want to do. You want to paint first. That way, if you take your spoiler off, you don't have like no paint under it. But the reason I did that is because I want the spoiler to go on. I want to lay a bead of caulking that seals the spoiler directly to the car, and then I'm going to paint over all of that. And that's to keep water and debris from getting stuck between the spoiler and the car, because it's really hard to get back out once you do that. So this spoiler is like a permanent fixture of this car. It's not a temporary thing. It's not coming on and off. It's a part of the car, and if anybody pulls it off, then they're going to have to go get the car, the boot lid painted, I'm not British, the trunk painted, just like the car. Anyways, and then we're gonna paint the car. It's gonna be awesome, and we're gonna do it right this time. 4th time's a charm, painting video. Stay tuned.
My heart grows heavy.
Alright, so you can see we laid a bead of caulking there, and it's very hard for the camera to focus on this stuff, but the masking that we use, the masking tape that we used all the way around this area worked wonders to keep the bead of caulking kind of controlled. If not, it can really get away from you. And my advice would be to do this a day or two actually ahead of painting rather than how I did it. Give yourself a little bit more time for cleanup and drying and stuff like that. But overall, as a success, I'm keeping it. I'm happy that we have a sealed layer between the spoiler and the car. So this takes 30 minutes to dry, and while that's drying, we're going to start hanging up more plastic. All right, so we are just about ready for party time. That's right, party time. Now we are just about ready to start painting. We are going to do a once over the car real quick, some 400, and make sure that we got all the high spots out, all the glossy spots off, and we got the paint gun all set up, and that's running good. After we do that, we're going to mix paint and shoot the spoiler and some of the other parts and get started with the base coats. Alright guys, it's game time. So, we got our gun set up, and here's what we're doing. Standard disposable air filter running into a desiccant air filter. This, I'm hoping, is going to remove a lot of the oil and crap from the lines, because this is an oil air compressor. We got a desiccant filter that removes the water from the air running into our gauge. It's got us pegged at about 100 psi, but when we pull the trigger, we're down to about 28 psi, which is right where I want to be for painting this, and I bet that thing's going to kick on really soon. And we have our HVLP gun made by Eastwood. The model, I believe, is called Conquerus, which is the dumbest name ever, but whatever. So this is, it says max 10 psi at the nozzle. We may want to crank down our psi a little bit. So this is a gun that is made for low CFM, and low CFM is the downside of a home air compressor. You don't have a lot of CFM. I would say a good home air compressor is going to be between like 8 and 9 CFM. Mine is about a $200 air compressor, and it puts out about 6.5 CFM at 40 psi. So right now we got 100 psi going to our gun, so we're going to get about 4 CFM. Anyways, this gun is meant to spray. Now HVLP is high volume, low pressure. So a lot of people are, oh yeah, it's low pressure, you don't need a big air compressor. No, you need a fucking giant air compressor to power a gun like this. If you buy a DeVilbiss, I think it's called Finish Line gun kit, they want 13 CFM. Go down to your local hardware store and see how big a 13 CFM air compressor is. It's bigger than you, and it's bigger than everybody you know. It's huge. It takes up the whole wall. It runs on 240. They're massive. It's a $1,000 investment. So if you're at home, you want to paint a car, I did some research and I hope I'm right. This is the gun. So we're about to fill it up with paint and go for it. We've got the fan spread wide open. We've got our air pressure on max down here. We're using our regulator air pressure. And we've got our pull trigger on max right here. So with that, I'm gonna lower the PSI a little bit on this and then spray some test sprays. All right, we got our gun is full of paint, and this is a little bit of a test box, and we're just gonna make sure our pattern is looking okay. Okay, so it seems way too heavy. Two things, it seems way too heavy, and when I initially press the gun a little bit, you'll notice I'm getting paint out of there, and you're not supposed to get paint at the initial depression of the gun. It's supposed to come like this is no paint, now paint. And so that's not good. I don't know what is causing that. So we're gonna need to keep troubleshooting this a little bit, but overall what I'm seeing is way too much paint is coming out for what I think I'm supposed to be getting as far as like atomization wise. It's probably an air pressure problem, either too high or too low. Adrian, I'm gonna need you to remove this box. We're gonna have to troubleshoot this. All right, so the deal with the gun is the first depression of the trigger spraying fluid. I have no idea what that is, what's causing that. I don't think that's supposed to be the way that happens. I mean, it's not on other guns, so that sucks. That's a bummer. I know this is a low CFM gun, so it doesn't need a lot of air pressure, but I still don't know what that means as far as pressure at different levels, as far as the regulator, the pressure going into the gun, the pressure going out. It seems to spray the same spray pattern, whether or not we're just like jacked on air pressure or we're at lower air pressure. And the volume of paint that seems to be coming out is sketchy. It seems to be a lot of paint that's coming out. But we don't have a ton of test material, and this is just the base coat, so we can always sand it off and continue working. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to spray the spoiler. We want to get one coat of base on the spoiler before we get in the car, because we need to get the spoiler black. That way we'll have the same amount of base on everything. So I'm going to shoot the spoiler and we're going to see what happens. And we're just going to say fuck it, and if it turns out bad, then you know, V is for Bill painting, but can't say we didn't try. Okay guys, so I wasn't really stoked about the way that the paint came out on the spoiler. Like, the weird thing is, you know, I'm talking to paint specialists, I'm going around paint shops, and I'm talking to automotive people, and they're all talking about like atomization and all this overspray, and you're gonna get overspray going everywhere. And what I just sprayed, like, you're not, like, you could see every bit of overspray. There's not enough atomization, so something was not cool when I did that. So what I did was I went on the Eastwood's website, the company that made the gun. I did some Googling, and they're saying that you have an 18 to 20 PSI drop between inlet pressure to tip. Okay, and they want 10 PSI at the tip. So we cranked our gun up to the exact amount that we want to have running. We have it set now at 28 to 30. So then you take out that 20 PSI drop between the inlet to the outlet, and you have your 10 PSI at the tip, which is exactly what they want. So now we're spraying at exactly Eastwood spec, which is about double the PSI that I was running at pressure at the tip, or not double, but you know, like 5 PSI, 5 to 7 PSI higher than what I was running before. Hopefully that'll get us a little bit more atomization of our paint. And we're gonna go ahead and now, you know, this first coat went on, it's okay. It's not super great, I'm not super happy about it, but it's okay. And that's just a little bit of a color cover on the spoiler. So now we're gonna go ahead, start shooting our first coat on the roof. All right, the spoiler has had its flash time, so now I'm gonna start painting. I'm starting on the roof with the push-pull method. I'm gonna push it halfway through, grab the wet edge in the middle of the roof, pull it back over, drop down to the door, do the rear quarter, and spin around. Alright guys, so in that last clip, I started going across the car, I'm a complete novice. Actually, I'm worse than a novice. Like, I'm worse than a beginner at painting because every time I've even tried, I've failed. So I feel like a beginner would have better luck. Anyways, I do know some things about paint though. I've watched a ton of footage on YouTube. I've done a ton of research, and this gun was just not producing the results that I needed. I'm not blaming Eastwood on this, but I don't know what the fuck's going on. I've had this happen with so many guns, so many times. So here's what I did. I just configured it on my own. I grabbed more cardboard, sprayed way more test, and I tightened the fan down a little bit, so I got a bit of a smaller spray pattern. I cranked the PSI way up, so they're saying you get 18 PSI of loss. I'm saying it's like nearly 30, but fuck it, whatever. And I'm cranking the fan volume way down because I could get it to atomize all right, and I was getting really nice fine particles. You crank the gun all the way down and blast, there goes a shit ton of your paint. I mean, I painted the whole roof in like 4 coats. It's fucking ridiculous. Too much paint's coming out of that gun. So I don't know what Eastwood is saying about their configuration on their gun. They like to say just completely undo the fan and completely turn the volume all the way up. That would have ruined this paint job once again. Because when you don't have paint atomizing, it is how you get that deep, crappy orange peel like I had before. Now I'm already pissed off because the roof is already fucked on this car and half the corner panel is also fucked. So what we should do is call it a night and sand it down, but unfortunately we have most of our paint mixed up over there and we don't have a backup plan. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to finish spraying the base coat on the car tonight, then we're going to let it dry, then we're going to sand it, and then we're going to spray clear tomorrow. Anyways, I feel like I got the gun set up well. We have to wait a little bit more time for that to flash, and then we'll pick up our edge over there, finish the quarter panel, and spray our first coat of base on the whole car. Alright guys, it's been quite a few hours actually. It is 1 in the morning now, and we got our base coat completely on, but we got some things that we need to work on. After we adjusted the paint gun, the base coat went on nice and good. We had a reaction on the front bumper, and then our air filter and desiccant filter crapped out, and I started getting water coming through the gun, which means I had to cut it short. So we still have a little bit of base coat left. I'm thinking I might buy a little bit more base coat and sand down the car and sand down some of that base coat with 400 because we are seeing some lines that we don't like. Anyways, all is well so far. This has actually been a really good day of a lot of progress, and we do have a good base coat on the car. But there's things we're going to take time to improve on because we do have to stop right now before we spray clear. Also, some paints do have a certain timing where they want you to either spray clear right away, like right now it's okay to spray clear. But if you let it dry, you might need to wait another amount of time. So I'm going to have to call the factory and figure that out. But that's it for today, and I'll be back tomorrow to keep working on this.
What's up everybody? We're back from the last painting day. I can't really remember where that video left off, but it was like 3 in the morning. It was really late. But basically what we had done was sprayed 2 base coats on pretty much everything in the shop, and then the air gun crapped out because my air filtration system got overrun with water, which happens. They're disposable, so too much water went through them and they crapped out, which is okay, and that's expected. So once we got a coat of black paint on the car, don't mind this is me sanding today. But once we got a coat of black paint and base coat on the car in other spots, I took a step back and I looked at it, and I was seeing that now that I had some paint on there, it made the scratches and the stuff underneath a little bit more evident to me. It was a little bit easier to see, and I gotta be honest, it's not good enough quality for me to want to continue. So like I've always said with this channel, like I'm gonna try things, I'm gonna make mistakes, and when I do make mistakes, I'm gonna be really honest about them and tell everybody so that you guys don't make them at home either. You guys that have been following the channel know that this is like the 4th attempt at painting. I've spent a lot of money and a lot of time, and I want to get this last one right, especially because I think I got a lot of the limiting factors out. I know that I have a gun setup, which I'll go into. Sorry, I'm gonna have to talk a lot and then I'll get back to work. But I got a gun setup that's gonna work, and I got other stuff that's gonna work. And right now, what happened, where we fell short, was our prep job. So, I went down to the Sherwin-Williams Automotive Paint Store here in Portland, Oregon. Big shout out to them, big thanks to them. They helped me so much. They let me bring my gun in, and they actually put paint in it and test sprayed and helped me configure my gun to the best way to make sure that your gun is good enough to paint on this car, because paint guns range from 20 bucks at Harbor Freight to $100 at another cheap store, and that's a cheap gun, to professional paint guns can cost thousands of dollars or $1,000. So they wanted to make sure, like, hey, can we get this spray pattern set up for you, the right air pressure, and show you how we would do it and all this stuff. They let me bring my gun in, help me out for free. That was so cool. They've been helping me out with painting tips, and they helped me out figuring out a plan to finish this car off and get this right. So thank you very much to them. I very much recommend their company. I believe they're all over the United States. I'm not really sure. Anyways, and that's the automotive section. You don't want to go there. Home paint sections, they're not going to have what you need. So with that said, thank you very much to them. What we have to do is, you'll see these boxes of sandpaper. And this thing, it's called a interface pad. One of the things we were missing last time. So this is a hook and loop interface pad, and it's just a big squishy thing that goes between your sander and the sandpaper. So the edges of your sandpaper don't, like, so it's a circular patch, so they don't kind of dig in when you get into these curved surfaces. That's one of the problems that we had. The other problem that we had was basically me just trying to go too fast. I used 150 grit or something like that, sandpaper, to really rip up a bunch of the sand. Then I came back over it with 220, and then I did 320. But I didn't take my time doing those steps, so the 150 grit, sometimes when the paper got clogged up, it burned little curly cues or pigtails into the paint. Then when I went over it with the 220 and the 320, we didn't sand those out, and that's what I'm seeing through the paint. So let me show you guys the car and then tell you about what the plan is. So the car, I'm going to try and find a bad area on purpose. It's kind of hard to see with the way the light is, but the camera will pick up some of this stuff. So you can see if you get nice and close here that it doesn't look like one sheet. Okay, let me see if I can get it to focus on my hand, and then it'll focus for you guys. Now look at these little curly cues from sanding. So that's, for instance, something that should have been sanded out, and other things. And when you look at the car on the side, so those would show up in the paint. And I really don't want that. So that's what we need to be sanding out. There's a lot of sandpaper marks, basically. So the plan, going down to 220, 320, 400, 600. I've got better tools this time, and it's time to sand. So one thing we're kind of constantly battling with is the time between the episodes and the different times when we cut. So we were hoping to have this be a paint episode, but this was kind of like, we painted, we found a mistake, and we need to fix it. Prep round 2 episode is what this is really turning into. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kick the cameras on and start doing this. I should mention that all the body kit parts are great. They're good enough. It's really where I tried to sand through about 3 coats of paint, and I got too deep on some places and didn't sand that stuff back out that I have a problem. So I'm excited. It's a lot more work. It's a lot more prep work. So when it's all said and done, we'll probably be 40, 45 hours of prep work into this car, but it's all gonna be worth it. So that was a lot of talking, but it had to be done. Now talking's done. I'm gonna throw on a respirator, grab my sander, and just start sanding the shit out of this car. All right, guys, so we just finished sanding the entire car body with the 220. That was, I think, the bulk of the work that needed to be done. Basically getting all the orange peel and everything out that I could. Taking a lot of extra paint off with that 220. So that, I started at about 5 o'clock, between 4:30 and 5 today. It's 11 o'clock right now, and I just got done doing that. So the next step is to move on to the 320 grit, and I'm gonna hit the whole car body again with the 320. All right, guys. I'm a mess. I just finished the 320 grit on the whole car. Let me see what time it is. It is 1 in the morning. So I'm not really that tired. I could keep going, but my arm is dead. My arm won't do the sanding anymore. So I'm calling it. In the next episode, we're gonna jump back on this, bust it out with the 400 and then the 600, and then we'll be spraying paint. So next episode, we will be painting 100%. We did paint in this episode. We had to stop. I'm so glad that I backed out from that and stopped at that base coat. And this was actually really exciting. It seems like it's boring because I must have been sanding for like 7 or 8 hours today, but I'm really excited because the surface of this car is like really transformed. It was really crappy and it's getting way better, and just the texture of it and stuff, it's smoothing out really nicely. So I'm actually really excited. It's just making me more excited about how the paint's gonna turn out. So I am stoked. I really want to drink that beer, but I gotta drive home right now, so there's no point. But I'm gonna take it home with me. It was like work that's not work. It's a lot of work, but it doesn't feel like work because you're having fun. I don't feel like in the English language we have a word for that. I bet the Swedish do. Anyways, that's it for this episode. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. If you want to help support our builds, you can go to bsforbuild.com, scroll down in the shop, buy anything in the shop that helps support the build. Some people have asked to start a donation thing on the YouTube channel. I'm not going to do that right now. If you guys want to help by donating, just go buy something. Pick yourself up a t-shirt or a hat or anything, and that helps support the channel. All that money goes right into the channel. And I ship all that stuff out. God, I'm gross. I ship all that stuff out and I manage all that stuff, so no money goes to any third parties or anything else like that. It just goes straight back into the cars. You can find us at facebook.com/bsforbuild. We are bsforbuild on Instagram, and bsforbuild.com is our website. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Peace.